Peace and blessings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taj Yutsi and I am a certified financial coach. I am also the founder of True Financial Coaching, where our mission here is to educate, enlighten, and equip individuals with the financial literacy that is needed in order to get off of the rat wheel. What is the rat wheel? Rat wheel is when one is constantly financing objects that go down in value for them but up in value for the banks at the same time. The wheel is only powered as long as the rat is in motion. So when one is constantly financing these depreciating objects like cell phones and furniture and cars, then they continue to keep that wheel in motion. It's not until one wakes up, realizes that they are the rat that is on the wheel, that is powering the wheel, that they can then create a plan to become free to do what they want when they want instead of having to do the things that they don't want. And it's through proper and consistent implementation of the plan that they'll be able to be free. So today's video, been looking around, doing some, just researching and just online and checking things out. But they did it again. It's in the process, and the discussions are in works about releasing or having the 50-year mortgage. Just the sound of that is like, it's hilarious. 50-year mortgage. And that's why I said this video is called 50 is the new 30. Like I often say, it don't even take 30 years to pay off a mortgage. But this is the program to get people to believe that it does. And like I said, it's not until you wake up to realize, and you realize that, that's a part of the program. And that's how I was, 30-year program, 30-year mortgage. And inside of me, I would always feel like, dang, 30 years? And at the time I got my mortgage, I was like 26. So in my mind, I'm thinking, man, 30 years, I'll be 56. And that's the program, like 30 years to pay off a mortgage. Now they want to change it. They want to up it, introduce the 50-year mortgage. And still people believe they're homeowners with 50-year mortgages. If I was 26 years old with a 50-year mortgage, that would put me at 76 years old if I made monthly payments, no refinancing, no loan modifications. That would put me at 76 years old once that mortgage is paid off. That don't even sound right. You will be paying off mortgages in your retirement with your pension and your Social Security if that 50-year mortgage is introduced. Oh man, this is what I'm saying. And yet people believe that they are homeowners, not even realizing that they're nothing but, as I said before, loan owners. You're not a homeowner with a mortgage. You are a loan owner. And to say a 50-year mortgage, you are calling yourself a homeowner, when in actuality, at that point, you're just renting from the banks. You're just renting from the banks. And people will say that the pros of this 50-year mortgage is that you get lower monthly payments. Oh man, you gotta just love. You gotta love it. This is the the wicked brilliance of this. I say it's wicked brilliance because it's keeping people in bondage and they don't even realize it. And at the same time, it's brilliant because you got people believing there's something that they're not with a 50-year mortgage, and that's a homeowner. That's wicked brilliance. They say evil genius. Unbelievable. So there people will say, well, I get lower monthly payments. And this is why, the 30-year mortgage was introduced. Because you got the 15-year mortgage, you got the 30-year mortgage. 30-year mortgage again compared to a 50-year mortgage again. Lower monthly payments. But what people don't realize, again, not only is it the length of time, but you're paying more interest. You're paying more interest. And the monthly payments, compared, if you compare the numbers, it's not that much of a difference. A couple of $100, a month, but over the length of the loan, you're going to be paying more more than double of what the loan amount was with a 30-year mortgage compared to a 15-year mortgage. Now you want to introduce a 50-year mortgage? Can you imagine what how much interest that one will be paying over the course of time? Probably almost three times as much of what the loan amount was. But yet they call themselves homeowners. The banks believe that they get the people to believe that they are homeowners that with a 50-year mortgage. That is a loan owner. That is a lifetime renter from a bank. Lifetime renting from a bank. But most people, they look at the monthly payment because most people with the consumer mindset, they live off month by monthly payments instead of looking at the bigger picture. And when you have that consumer mindset in your mind, well, I can afford the payments. I can afford the payments. Okay, you can afford the payments, but you can't afford the home. You can't afford the house. Why? Because you have payments. You can't afford the house. Why? Because you have payments. You can't afford a car, right? Why? Because you have payments. You can't afford the iPhone. Why? Because you have payments. Payments mean that you cannot afford that item. You can't afford the item. Why? Because you have payments. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's not complex, but it's spun to where, okay, I can afford the payments. They're low monthly payments. But look at the time. Look at the time. 50 years. It does not take 50 years to buy a house. Don't take 50 years to buy a house. You know how long it takes to buy a house? 1 day. 1 day. Don't take 84 months to buy a car. You know how long it takes to buy a car? 1 day. Don't take 36 months to buy an iPhone. You know how long it takes to buy an iPhone? 1 day. And less than that. I lost my iPhone recently, one of the ones I used for my video. You know what I did? Went on Amazon and bought another one in maybe 2 minutes. So it doesn't take 36 months to buy an iPhone. It took me about 2 minutes. I searched it up, saw the one I want, buy now. I didn't need 4 easy payments. Didn't need buy now, pay later. How can you buy now with no money? I bought a car a while back, a couple of months ago. I didn't have to sit in the dealership for 8 hours, maybe an hour. I had to get the paperwork done, do whatever I had to do, and went on my way. Don't take 84 months. It took me 1 hour, if that. Don't take 30 years to buy a home. Don't take it 30 years to buy a home. It takes 30 years to finance. It takes 84 months to finance a car. It takes 36 months to finance an iPhone, but it only takes 1 day to buy those items. So now they're introducing this 50-year mortgage where people believe that they're homeowners with a 50-year mortgage. And then they'll say, well, my mortgage payments are less than rent. Not realizing that their mortgage payment is a rent payment to the bank. Don't even realize it. The bank is the landlord. When you have the mortgage, you're the property manager. And that's something, man. I think about that. That's because that's what I was. And I'm not saying this to talk down about anybody. I'm just trying to show you something. That's all. I'm not trying to belittle no one. I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. I just want you to see something. Why? Because when you see something, that's when you wake up. And that's when you realize, oh, I'm not a homeowner. So what do I have to do to become a homeowner? Pay off that mortgage. People think that they own equity in the home that they have a mortgage on. The equity is not yours. You are the equity if you have a mortgage. You're the equity. The equity belongs to the bank. So when people say I own the equity, no, you don't. How can you own the equity when you don't even own the home? I'm just trying to show you something. I'm just trying to show you something. How can you own the equity in a property that you do not even own? And again, I can say this because that was me. It never made sense to me. I just didn't quite couldn't put my finger on it. And I always remember, and I said this before, I remember times before I woke up, I could see there was glimpses of me waking up, but it always like I would go fill out certain applications for credit to finance a car, and it would say, do you own or rent when it comes to your home? And I will always hesitate about checking that box that said own. I will I will always hesitate about checking that box. Because in the back of my mind, I would say to myself, I don't own this home. But I would go ahead and check on. Why? Because that was the program. So if I didn't own the home, how can I own the equity in the home? I didn't. And this is why people have to take out a home equity line of credit. Why? Because you don't own the home. There's individuals that have, and this really doesn't make sense to me. There are individuals that have paid off their mortgage free, but then put the home right back into the hands of the bank after they done paid off the mortgage. Somebody say how they do that? By taking out equity, the HELOC. They done paid the home off, but then they put the property right back into the bank's hands because they take out a line of credit, a home equity line of credit. You don't put the paid off house right back into the bank's hands. That's, man, I'm telling you. And the banks aren't doing nothing evil. The banks ain't wicked. They're not evil. They're not villains. It's business. But the disservice is the lack of knowledge. That's the disservice. That's the disservice. Because once you acquire knowledge and you pay off your home, you're not gonna put that back into the bank hands to take on a monthly payment. No, because now I got knowledge. I have a paid off home. All that money that I was putting towards the mortgage, now I'm building, I'm saving, I'm investing. And this is what I'm talking about. The lack of knowledge. The lack of not just knowledge, but the lack of the application of that knowledge and the lack of discipline. You imagine 50 years old, you get a 50-year mortgage. You get a mortgage at the age of 25 years old. You will be paying that if you go to full term without, refinancing or, paying it off early. You will be 75 years old paying off a mortgage for 50 years, where you should be just worry free as far as finances, just enjoying your retirement, doing whatever you want to do. But instead, you're making mortgage payments at 75 years old with a 50-year mortgage. That's what's going to happen. I couldn't believe when I saw that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And to think that individuals will quote unquote retire, but that debt hasn't retired. That debt ain't retired. They said you're going to be paying that mortgage back with your Social Security checks. What is this? What are the banks doing? Creating new slaves. That's it. Just creating new slaves. That's it. Creating new debt slaves. Because people are going to jump on that. Why? Because they're looking at the monthly payment. They're looking at the monthly payment. Do the math. Do the math. Over the course of that 50 years, I'm telling you, 3 times you're going to be paying. I'm not even mad because I know it's just business. But again, this is what I'm saying about how people need to become financially literate. And it's just like not knowing the law. The police can do whatever they want if you don't know the law. But once you know the law, they're not as easily to get over on you because you're familiar with the law. But if you're not familiar with the law, they can do whatever they want. When you're not financially literate, you will be taken advantage of. You will be taken advantage of. And again, it's not illegal, but it is unethical to have individuals sign up for a 50-year mortgage in their 30s, and you mean to tell me I won't have that paid off until my 80s? I get a mortgage at the age of 30, 35. I'm not gonna have that mortgage paid off till I'm 80 or 85 if I'm still alive. And then what's gonna happen? That debt is gonna get passed down to your children. You're just passing down debt. Passing down debt. Die with that debt. That debt gets passed down to the children. And until they gotta sell the house, right? But until they sell the house, they gotta keep making those mortgage payments. Unbelievable. It doesn't take 30 years to pay off a mortgage. It doesn't take 50. It certainly doesn't take 50 years to pay off a mortgage. When I woke up and I started my plan, woke up 2018, 2019, started my plan 2020. It's 2025. 5 years to pay off that mortgage. 5 years. And that's what I'm saying. It only take 5 to 7, maybe 10 years max. 5 to 7 years would be typical. 10 years max. You have no debt and all you have is a mortgage. Like I said before in other videos, just put pay extra on the principal. Pay extra on the principal. It's that simple. But you can't do it if you have debt. Got to eliminate the debt first. Got to eliminate the debt, the consumer debt, the high interest consumer debt. Got to eliminate the credit cards. Got to eliminate the car payments. Got to eliminate the iPhone payments. You got to eliminate that stuff. You got to eliminate the payday loan payments. You got to get that stuff out the way. Why? Because that's robbing you from building. It's robbing you. When you have interest rates at 24%, 27%, payday loan interest rate 300%, and then you trying to invest in stock market, cryptocurrency, gold. How is that possible mathematically? When you have 24% credit card interest rates, 17% car loan interest rates, 300% payday loan interest rates, and you trying to invest in the stock market? That's backwards. You get it, even if you get a return on the stock market of 10% annually, 12% annually. That don't mean nothing when you got all that other high interest rate. And that's the thing. I'm taking some classes right now, to expand what I'm trying to do. Taking some classes, and I'm reading some of the stuff, and it's good information. But one thing they talk about is compound interest. Compound interest. And yes, your interest is earning interest over time, right? Principal is earning interest, the interest is earning interest over time. But that works both ways. I can earn interest, yes. I can earn compound interest, yes. But I can also pay compound interest. And majority of Americans are paying compound interest. How? When you don't pay off those credit cards at the end of the month, you're paying compound interest. That principal is earning interest, and then when you keep not making those payments at the end of each month, that interest on that principal is also earning interest. So you are paying compound interest. So compound interest works both ways. You either pay it or you earn it. You cannot earn compound interest if the paying of the compound interest is larger than what you're earning. It cancels out and you have a difference. But people will brag about what they're earning in the stock market. But wait a minute, hold up. Do you have credit card debt? Are you making car payments? So you got to get rid of all that high interest debt first. Then once you do that, then build up your emergency savings fund to 3 to 6 months. Then you can start paying extra on the principal of the mortgage to knock off not just saving interest, but you're knocking off time. And that's more valuable than money. It's more valuable than money. So if my mortgage payment is $1,000, part of that $1,000 going towards your principal, part of that money goes towards interest, part of that money goes towards the escrow, which is the insurance and the taxes. So let's just say 700 is going towards the principal, and the remaining goes towards taxes and your escrow and your interest. So that means let me pay an additional $700 towards my monthly mortgage payment. $700 will eliminate 1 month of interest and also 1 month of time. If I pay $1,400 extra, right? Because 700 plus 700 is $1,400. That's 2 additional principal payments. So I put $2,400 down for that monthly mortgage. I done knocked off 2 months on my amortization schedule, and I saved money on interest. You do that. If you do that, right? You don't cut down your time on, instead of a 15-year. Now you after about 3 years of doing that, right? 2 times 12, 24. 3 years of doing that, you done knocked off 6 years. You done in 3 years' time, you done knocked off 6 years on your mortgage. If you're able to do that. If you're able to do that. But who am I? What do I know? I'm just trying to show people something. I'm just trying to show you something. That's all. I'm just trying to show you something. The banks, they got this game on lock. They got it on lock. The 50-year mortgage will be the new 30-year mortgage. It's more common 30-year mortgages. Give it time. 50 years will be the new 30. Get off this wheel, man. I'm telling you, get off the wheel. Get off the wheel. But one got to be willing to sacrifice, and you got to be disciplined. I had a client recently I was talking to. And she made a sacrifice. She got rid of her car, made a sacrifice, got rid of the car. It was eating up a lot of her income. She got rid of it. And as a result, she was able to cut back on another job that she had, but she feels so much more relieved. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. It's more than just the money. It's more than just the money. It's that sense of freedom. It's that sense of you're getting your health right, your mental right, your physical right, your emotional and spiritual right. It's more than just the money. But society has clouded us so much to think that we need to have all this stuff that's not even necessary. Not realizing that all these items are doing is keeping us, all these depreciating items are doing is just keeping us in bondage, keeping us tied to jobs that we hate, keeping us tied to a object that goes down in value. I want something that's going to appreciate, not depreciate, and then keeping us tied to the banks, where the banks is now your master. The banks is the master. Why? Because you're in debt. You're an indentured servant. I'll never forget I read that on a document I was looking at about a mortgage, and it said indentured mortgagee. Indentured mortgagee. Like you owe them your time. And until that debt is paid off, you are a slave to the bank. So no, you're not a homeowner with a mortgage, especially if you got a 50-year mortgage. Like I said, you're just a property manager. Look at that. The banks don't got to put, all they doing is collecting the money. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. They just collecting the money. They don't got to worry about the maintenance of the property. They don't got to worry about the utilities. They don't got to worry about nothing except getting paid. And then look at this. If you do decide to sell the home and move out, you know what the bank's going to do? They're going to flip that house to another individual. The same property. It's an eternal, you say eternal, but it's a constant flip. And people talking about they flipping properties. How you flipping properties with a mortgage? You're the flip. You're the flip. The banks are flipping you. How you flipping properties with mortgages? How you calling yourself a landlord with a mortgage? Well, people say, well, I can rent this out and have the tenant pay the rent. You can call it whatever you want. The banks don't care as long as they get paid. Because what if the tenant decides they want to move out or don't have the money? You know who that mortgage payment falls on? You, the so-called landlord. I'm just trying to show you something. And you don't have to agree with it. And that's all right. I'm just trying to show you something. 50-year mortgage is evil genius. To have people believe they're homeowners with a 50-year mortgage. I'm telling you, man, when you wake up and you start looking and you see things from a different lens, you don't want to have no parts of the banks, with the banks. Like I said in the last video, I don't need permission from the banks to buy anything or to finance, beg your pardon. I don't got to go check with the banks to see if I can finance a car. I don't need permission from the banks. I'm not sitting there hoping and crossing my fingers that I get approved. No, and I'm not trying to say this to brag. I'm just trying to show you something. And you know why? Because, yeah, somebody say, well, who has all that money? Just save it up. But it's hard. It's hard to save when you got debt. And another thing, people don't want to wait. They want that instant gratification. And the banks know that. And they prey on that. So that's why they offer these loans. And people so desperate at times, they just take anything. To the point where now the banks won't approve you. So now you go into a buy here, pay here car lot. A buy here, pay here car lot. Where they got a box in the car that if you don't make a payment, they can shut the car off on you. That's you. If you got to that point, that means the sharks done got you. Now you just on the bottom feeders, just trying to get the remains, the pickings. If you have a box in your car that if you don't make a payment, that they shut it off. And I'm not trying to say this to make fun of anybody or speak down. I'm just showing you something because people don't look at the things like they don't look at it like that. They don't look at it like that. Why? Because they want that item and they want it now instead of putting the work in. Instead of putting the work in. But what do I know? What do I know? I'm just hey, I'm just sharing some things that I went through, experience, and worked for me. That's all. But yeah, like I often say, time time is our greatest commodity. You can't put money on time, but people sell their time, not realizing that time is priceless. Time is priceless. But I'm gonna close this video out. I could go a little more. I'm gonna make it short. But I appreciate again everyone's tuning in, listening to me. Like I said, I'm just trying to share some information, just trying to help people out. I am working on something. We'll see how it goes. Something that I'm working on, be able to help people in a more, broader way, more deeper way. So I'll be sharing that maybe in the near future. But yeah, if you're ready to invest in yourself and ready to get off the rat wheel so you can become free to do what you want when you want, come visit me at truethinkcoaching.com, schedule your consultation, and we can get you on your way. Peace and blessings.